New episode of Outlier Podcast. I've got Jason with me today. Hi, Jason. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well, Anurag. How are you?
Uh, Good. This week has been crazy for me. I'm traveling like one city to the other. So this is the third city this week. But yeah, can't can't complain. It's all amazing. It's Friday. Again, Jason, thank you for joining in for today's episode. I really appreciate it. Uh, I don't think Jason needs an introduction, but still, I try to facilitate a small one. So Jason is the Chief Member and Digital Experience Officer at BECU. BECU is based out of Seattle, but Jason is based out of LA. Right? He has almost 2.5 decades of experience in financial services, uh, starting with, if I remember correctly, Amex, KeyBank, USA, and finally he made his move to the credit union ecosystem. Jason, I hope I was able to do half a justice to your introduction, sir. If I am not, feel free to go ahead.
You hit it. You hit it on the nail, my friend. I don't know that I like you saying 2.5 decades but we'll go with it. That is a fact. That is a fact.
Sounds good, Jason. So, Jason, what do you do at BECU?
Yeah, thank you. So first off, for the audience looking, thanks for the opportunity. BECU, for those in the audience that are not aware, officially or originally, BECU was Boeing Employees Credit Union, started 90 years ago in December of this year by a small group of Boeing employees. We have since expanded our reach, and BECU is the nation's fifth largest credit union. We are committed to improving the financial well-being of 1.5 million members and growing. We're almost $30 billion in assets, and we are a 3,200 strong employee team that, again, works every day to help members reach their financial goals and make an impact in the communities that we serve. I have the fortunate responsibility and honor of leading the member and digital experience team. So that is the way that I like to describe it is how we get our members and prospects to our experience and then through our experience. So that's marketing and brand, digital, not only the experience that we put in the palm of your hand or in front of your screen, but also chatbots and secure messaging, as well as enterprise digital, working in concert with the chief data officer, the chief technology officer, and their teams to essentially evolve that experience, as well as our retail presence. We have 67 what we call neighborhood financial centers. Think of them as a branch. But our neighborhood financial centers are largely tellerless in that they don't look like traditional banks look
Yep.
for the most part. And then I also have the contact center that today is the contact center, but as you can appreciate in an AI enabled world is rapidly becoming a broader voice expression of how we meet the needs of our members, deliver service, and ultimately grow our relationship with them over time.
Sounds good, Jason. Sounds good. Let's get the first question, right? What keeps you going? I mean, what you do is pretty significant, leading a team of 1,000 plus motivated individuals at BCU. So, what keeps you going?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know what I tell my kids. I've got a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old. Sorry, 12-year-old and nine. What my team does every day is change lives, and that's what keeps me going. And that sounds really lofty, I'm sure, for many people listening, but it's true. Credit unions and BECU in particular, we're in a very unique space and place to, as I said, work every day to help our members reach their financial goals. That might be being able to pay rent today. It could be unlocking the door to your first home. It could be starting a business. And while many financial services companies would lay claim to that, I think credit unions and BECU in particular do that in a way that is quite remarkable. The opportunity to return $491 million to our members last year, right? Well, that's an average of $329 per member through great rates, low fees. That's compared to bank averages. We saved nearly 46,000 members an estimated $2.4 million last year through our reprice program, which automatically reprices your loan. As your credit score improves, you don't have to ask us for it. We automatically do that. We partnered with Green Path Financial Wellness to help more than 3,500 members put $6.4 million towards debt repayment. Those are the things that matter in the lives of Americans. They matter for the communities that we serve in Western Washington and Spokane. Our credit union is state chartered and largely in the state of Washington. And what keeps me going is there's joy in the work that I do every day, because I'm able to see the impact of my teams and my effort on the lives of people that we, again, wake up every day to make sure that we show up and do our best in order for them to improve their financial well-being and ultimately put them on a path to lasting, durable generational wealth.
Yep, that's quite an answer, right? I mean, that's the reason I think all of us have moved into the credit union ecosystem, because you can actually do so much more
Yeah.
than working for another large organizations. Obviously, not demeaning any organizations. We are
No.
what today because of the organizations we have worked for now, but trade unions is definitely a unique ballgame altogether. And both of us are not super old in this ecosystem, but we love what we do right now, right? It's amazing.
We do. It is all joy work as opposed to no joy work.
Exactly. Let me ask you continuation. Let me dovetail onto your current role, right? So you hold dual role of member experience as well as digital. So how do you balance brand storytelling with digital transformation priorities? Because these are, I mean, now digital is table stakes, obviously, but 15 years back it was not. It was still the billboards, still direct mails of the world. But now things are changing, right? So how do you balance this?
Well, I think we balance it by using some good old-fashioned data and analytics, right? Data is to me the foundation of modern marketing, and you mentioned kind of brand and digital and how do they coexist. I'm very lucky on some level that the role that I have has been created this way, right? Because again, what we've done is we've fashioned how you experience this from a distribution perspective on the same team as the brand, right? The awareness, the consideration, the full funnel of the marketing lifecycle. And the team together figures out how to pull that through in an optimized way. So it's interesting. In Western Washington, I just saw some data from my team where the use of and the optimization of out of home is still a thing. So in Western Washington, right, there is a need to make sure that you're optimizing your marketing funds around out of home, because that actually drives your growth agenda. It's different in Spokane, right? Spokane, the data in Spokane would tell us that there's an over-indexing on gaming and digital, right? And so data is a foundation. You and I were talking about the power of first-party data, right? That allows us to understand our customers, create personalized experiences, optimize our campaigns for better results. So there's still a role for out of home. There's still a role for direct marketing. We're not a heavy direct marketing shop, but analog or traditional ways of marketing, they're not dead. They're not. They just have to be used in an increasingly digital world to actually reach members in different ways. And I think our opportunity at BECU is we actually need to open up a few more channels of marketing, what I call marketing asphalt, relaying the runway for other channels that we do. We see more opportunities in social, in influencer. There are opportunities, believe it or not, in direct marketing that we see, right? I know that you and I were chuckling before, right? We were saying that, do you still direct market? Yes, it's still an incredibly valuable and useful opportunity for us to reach members and to tell them about our story, amplify our brand. I talked about what we call our return to member, right? Part of the way that credit unions show up differently and are able to talk very, very deliberately about what they do is when we say to prospects, we returned on average $329 per member. Did you know that? That's probably a reason why you should come talk to us about what we do.
I mean, absolutely right. So that's so well taken. Uh, Now my follow. I mean, I know. I mean, I'm known for asking difficult questions, but believe me, I'm a good person. So I'm going to
Okay.
still ask. But ask you questions about being member centric, right? Now, obviously, that's what we look for in this age is being member centric in the digital age, right? So, how does your team measure it beyond like an NPS or a CSAT? How do you measure being member centric in this age?
I not a hard question. I fear I'm going to be a little redundant, right? But and then I'll be expansive. Um, NPS is important to us. We also measure a customer efficiency score or a member efficiency score, right? How easy is it to get done what we need to do? So those are core data points. We measure our member centricity by our growth. If we're growing members, then we have a value proposition out there that obviously is appealing to not just what I would say have been the members of yesterday and today, but also the members of tomorrow. Right? So we actually do see membership growth in what we call the emerging affluent, Gen X. There is still relevance in what we do from a credit union to the newer members of the cooperative movement and our ecosystem. I think you measure it in your ability to return more and more to your members every year with the programs that I mentioned. You also measure it in a qualitative way by the calls that you listen to, the member stories that you hear about the way that we change lives, right? Imagine if everybody, right? This is the journey that we're on. If we're thinking about scaling our impact, imagine if everybody had easy access. We democratized financial health checks, debt counseling, the things that, when you look at the data, a vast majority of Americans are still living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, yes.
That includes people that actually are making north of $100,000 a year, but are living paycheck to paycheck because the cost of living and surviving, not even thriving in America, is expensive. We love this country for what it provides, and the cost of entry is high. Right? So imagine if everybody had the access to services like financial health checks and debt counseling. When we survey our members, when we talk to our members, when they come into our physical, our NFCs, our neighborhood financial centers, when we listen to the calls that we have, we know by doing that we're actually doing the right things and that the member experience we're delivering is meeting their needs. Of course, there's work to do. Of course, there's work to do. But the credit union philosophy, as you know, is people helping people. That's needed now more than ever. And our members tell us that we're doing the right thing by them not only staying with BECU, but growing their relationship with BECU, passing that on to members of their family, and then us being able to not only retain the members that we have, but grow the members of tomorrow in those populations that are new. Gen X. We have an early saver program that enables teens to understand how to manage financials. That is showing exceptional year-over-year growth. So that's how I measure member centricity beyond NPS. What our members tell us, what they show us they do with our products and our solutions, and the engagement that we get in things like our financial health checks and our debt counseling services that we provide.
That sounds, I mean, that sounds a very well-rounded answer for this. Uh, Moving on to the role of data and AI. Now, Jason, I hate to say this, but I mean, I don't use the word AI a lot because at times, working with even larger credit unions, there is requirement to go and fix the data first, walk that journey from data to BI to advanced analytics to AI. It's a journey, right? So I don't usually use the word AI, and hence I want to ask you about the role of just data. When acquisition is a notorious problem for financial institutions, be it for larger commercial banks or fintechs or credit unions. And for and for credit unions specifically, right? I mean, when the expectation of an average consumer, right, has gone way high. So how do you think, or what is the role that data is playing in acquisition specifically at BECU?
I much like anybody you talk to, right? Data and analytics is your power alley, right? If you think about what marketing used to be, right? I read this, right? It used to be a bit of a guessing game, right?
Yeah.
You think about the old way we used to, you relied on a billboard, an ad in a newspaper, some TV commercials. And, we said it earlier, data is the foundation of modern marketing. We have access to more customer insights than ever before. We can track user behavior. We can analyze their performance. We can analyze preferences. We can survey at scale. We can predict future trends, right? All of that happens in real time. And so, and yet we're on a journey. I think you also started your conversation with, and mission one is to make sure that your data is harmonized, not standard, harmonized, easy to access. You can use it, at speed. You've got Member 360 in a way that actually is useful. It feeds a CRM. You can optimize. You can target. You can fast track multivariate testing. We'll pin the power of AI to be able to do that at scale, right? So instead of multivariate, maybe 5 or 6 things in a traditional creative way, you can probably get 600 variations at the touch of a button. That is the promise of AI. So look, I think data and analytics is incredibly important because fundamentally part of my role, I've got a head of marketing that reports into me, right? Part of my role from a marketing and brand perspective is at the end of the day, the money we spend is our members' money. That's the power of a credit union. That's why we think every single day with the decisions we make, because it's our members' money that we're spending. And if nothing else, my responsibility is to optimize that such that every dollar of that money that we spend gets an appropriate return.
Yep,
You
that's
you you do that with data and analytics, right? I would argue that differentiation in a increasingly commoditized financial services world, because I would argue that a checking account is a checking account is a checking account, right? And I can price savings differently, and I can do some different things from a credit card perspective, but the operating account is fairly commoditized. The power to differentiate, in my humble opinion, relies on marketing and brand and the member experience that you deliver. And underpinning all of that is data as a foundation to understand what you need to evolve, what's working well, and what you need to test, and how you do that at scale. Such that, again, I come back to our responsibility is to optimize appropriately every dollar we spend because it's our members' money.
yeah, that's so important. I think the philosophy, Jason, that has changed for both of us coming from commercial banks to credit unions is exactly you're spending your members' money. You're not reporting this into the street, right? It's a
Right.
completely different philosophy. So we have to be more cautious of what we are doing. But yeah, also keeping in mind that an average consumer gets affected by a Netflix or a Spotify. Not affected, gets touched upon by Netflix or Spotify on everyday basis. So the expectations have skyrocketed. I as an average consumer, Jason, I can tell you, if I want to open a new checking account, I don't have patience for more than 3 to 4 minutes. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
guys, can you make it happen within that time? If yes, amazing. Otherwise, I don't know. I cannot do it, right?
Right.
So that's very difficult even for you because you own so many different hats. digital experience, marketing, that for larger creative, that's not easy. So a lot of respect for that. Right? So one question across again expectation that we talked about right now. I talked about Spotify or Netflix. Uh, I mean, I'm a huge fan. I mean, Chime might go to an IPO, right? So I'm a huge fan of
Yeah.
Chime. So I'm a huge fan of Chime. So I use my Apple Card. I use Chime every single day. It's very easy. Because for me, what is an FI? An FI is a source or a medium to transfer my money from A to B. That's what I use an FI for mainly. Right? So my question is that how do you think credit unions can compete with likes of the Apple Chimes and being affected by Netflix and Spotify on an everyday basis when it comes to
Yeah.
digital expectation and engagement? So that's what my quick question to you is.
That's a quick question that we could be here for an hour talking about, right? Um, so let me see if I can unpick it and give you a few kind of thoughts as to how I think about it, and how we think about it. So the first is you're absolutely right. I consistently share with my team that our members' experience is not defined solely by Chime or Chase or Bank of America. And KeyBank. We compete with all four of those,
Yep.
all four great institutions, right? Great
Yes.
institutions do a lot of good on behalf of the customers they serve. I shared with you on my finance cohort on my phone. I ran through before,
Yes.
right? There are 10 apps that I use, right? So
Yep.
my financial life is fragmented, not in an inconvenient way, actually in a convenient way. And then what we're striving for ultimately, if the experience is defined, I said to the team, our members' experience, how they think about BECU is defined by, as you said, Netflix, Airbnb, Lyft, FedEx. And a couple of people looked at me straight, like, you threw FedEx in there. I was like, they're a logistics company. They get something from A to B, and that's part of our job. We have to get a member from A to B. So how we think about it is much broader than banking, to your point. I'm also guided by, and my team is guided by 4 Cs. Our
Yep.
responsibility in an omni-channel world, because even in an increasingly digital world, we believe that humans will always need other humans. They will always, to do certain things.
Yep.
To do certain things.
I agree.
We have a mobile first human always approach to our work. Our responsibility is to deliver an experience, right, that our members can choose where and when to play, right, that is contextual, convenient, consistent, and compliant. The compliant piece is really, really important because financial services is all about trust, right? It's ultimately about trust. It is our money. We have a very interesting emotional relationship with our money. That's probably a conversation for another time. So when it comes to everyday banking, people want the convenience of digital tools. That's what you actually stressed, right? They don't want to have to call or physically go into an NFC to request a credit increase or send money to a friend or a family member if they don't want to. I'm like you. I want to be able to do it. Time is a precious commodity to me. However, when it comes to larger financial decisions like buying a house, starting a business, planning your estate, our members tell us that they still want one-to-one human interaction,
Yep.
right? They do. It's fascinating to me. I saw some data recently. I think it's 2024 data that when Gen Z, when millennials
Yep. Yep.
are choosing their financial institution, 46% consider their closeness to an ATM in that decision.
Yep.
6%. I think you and I would say cash
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
dead. Cash is not
I
dead.
don't know.
It has a role, right? I'm a parent of 2 kids. Believe me, I use more cash than I would like, but we still need cash. And 23% consider the location of the nearest physical branch in their decision. Now, I'm sure that was probably close to 100%, 30 years ago, to your point.
Yep. Yep.
But when it comes to larger financial decisions, our members tell us they still want to have that one-to-one human interaction. There's also times when our members are going to want or need the convenience of digital services while still getting the trusted human support that they're looking for. So that's where a tool like video banking can be incredibly powerful. right? That's an option we provide our members. And what we found is our business members love that because they can connect with a trusted business services consultant on demand. They
Yep.
might not be able to physically come into a location, but the way they manage their business is they may have a business associate in Spokane, and they may be in Western Washington. And the way that we bring that to bear is through video banking. But on the end of that call, right, is a trusted consultant that's having a having a
Mhm.
1-to-2 or a 2-to-1 human interaction. So that's how I think about how you marry it and you appreciate that we're in a digital first human always world. I would say I'd color that within digital first, we lead with mobile, and that our members tell us that they still want a one-to-one human interaction. And that's why we're building omni-channel experiences such that they can determine how they want to interact with us. They can start in one place. They should be able to finish in another place without having to start that journey all over again. And I think that's our responsibility, right? To make it contextual, convenient, consistent, and always compliant.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you hit all the high points that I, as a consumer, look into financial institutions. Absolutely. So, Jason, in the interest of time, let's do a rapid fire, right? Three
Sure.
questions then quickly. One word to describe the future of banking.
Unpredictable. Unpredictable. Uh, However, let me explain that. Not in a doubtful, arbitrary, random way. Just unpredictable, right?
Yep, sure.
Our responsibility is to meet our members' needs and to be relevant for the next 90 plus years, right? We're 90 years old, 90 years young this year,
Yep.
right? Our responsibility as a team is to continue to build, continue to preserve and build on the legacy of what got us here. And we have something that's compelling that will serve the needs of hundreds of thousands and millions of more members in the future. And
Yep.
that's our responsibility. But we do that in an unpredictable environment.
Yep. I'm sure. So that really sums up the future of banking. Let's go into the next one. Digital first or human?
Um, Digital first, human always.
Interesting.
And always is not everywhere. Right? I just want to say, I say human always where it's needed, where it's necessary, right? Where it makes
Exactly.
sense, right? If we were digital only, um, people wouldn't pick up the phone and talk to our great contact center agents, right? To help
Yep.
them improve their financial well-being. There is a need for human connection,
That's important.
right?
It's really
I think, and I think we've realized that even more so in a post-pandemic world. We as human beings thrive, thrive on human interaction. And I think what we're talking about here in a digital first ecosystem is calibrating where that makes the most sense. But it is not the absence of human
absence of
interaction.
not the
It's
other.
not the absence.
Absolutely. I mean, I still want to talk to contact center agents. Absolutely, right. So I still want to, start that. One last question, Jason. What keeps you up at night in your current role?
I work for nearly 1,400 people. I'm on their team, right? And I work for a great organization. So I'm not dodging your question. Because from a work perspective, nothing keeps me up at night. Um, the unpredictable nature of what we're dealing with, right? The future of credit unions and financial services in an AI-enabled world, the role of data in, basically leveraging our members' money and deploying our members' money in the most optimized way so we can return as much to them as we can. The power of what a credit union and the cooperative movement does. It's not what keeps me up at night. It's actually what keeps me excited about the future. And if anything, it's like, am I doing enough to see the future, look around the corner, and then figure out what that has, or what that implication is on what ultimately we're delivering every day on behalf of 1.5 million members and growing.
Absolutely. So, Jason, this was such a fun episode, right? We spoke about so many things. This was really great. And again, thank you for agreeing to do this episode with us. I really appreciate it.
Anurag, hey, thanks for the time. Thanks for the questions. They were pointed and they were a little challenging, but hopefully the audience that hears this takes some goodness from it.
Uh, Thank you, Jason, again.
Anurag, appreciate it. Talk soon.
Absolutely.